25 years ago, arguably the best incarnation of Batman aired on Fox Kids in 1992. I have loved this show ever since I was a kid. I have all of the DVDs, to some of the figures, to even some of the merchandise. I figured that because this is a milestone of an anniversary, I think I should talk about my favorite episodes in the show. Before I begin, I want to state that every episode is worth watching. Even one of the worst episodes called Critters, where this odd villain named Farmer Brown and his mutated animals. Even the commentary with the people who worked on it made fun of it.
Oh, that's right, here comes the Ninja Farmer.
Yeah.
That's great.
In addition, here are some honorary mentions. The Man Who Killed Batman is a story about people thinking that this guy killed Batman. Beware the Grey Ghost was Batman teaming up with his childhood hero, also guest starring the late Adam West.
Like you said, you need my help.
The Laughing Fish was a dark adaptation of the famous comic book story with the Joker. Riddler's Reform was a good Riddler story where we debate if he's gone straight or not. Mad as a Hatter was showing how Jervis Tetch wanted this woman, but couldn't have her. Harley's Holiday was a funny episode of Harley Quinn trying to be good again. And Tales of Dark Knight was showing how people interpretate Batman in their own mind. So without further delay, here's my top 25 Batman the Animated Series episodes. Number 25. Joker's Wild. The Joker is irate because a businessman is using his name and image to make money off a casino. He escapes to destroy it, but the owner wants him to do so because of an insurance scheme. I love the Joker's dialogue in his rant.
I'll protest. Yeah, I'll sue. Then I'll rip his lungs out. And I will, too.
I also like this file that shows the Joker's real name. Number 24. It's Never Too Late. An aging mob boss suspects that a rival mob boss kidnapped his son. During this episode, he deals with flashbacks of his childhood involving a train and a friend. I also like how this episode is showing how he's responsible for his son's drug addiction, and it's an episode that's showing that you can redeem yourself if you want it hard enough. Number 23. Joker's Millions. The Joker finds out that he inherited a ton of money from a mob boss that passed away and starts spending the money like crazy. But most of the money turns out to be fake, and it was the mob boss getting back at the Joker. It's funny how he quickly tries to find a replacement for Harley Quinn, and this line from the Joker.
I'm crazy enough to take on Batman, but the IRS? No, thank you.
Number 22. Robin's Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2. Robin wonders why Batman's working alone on a case and finds out that it's related to a man named Tony Zuko, the man who killed Robin's parents. It doesn't pull any punches by showing Robin's parents getting killed to showing heartfelt moments of bonding and how badly Robin wants revenge.
Stuff your advice, Batman. You and your stone-cold heart. You don't know how I feel. How could you?
Number 21. Holiday Nights. This is 3 short stories taking place around Christmas time. One is about Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn taking control of Bruce Wayne to take him on a shopping spree. Another is Batgirl fighting Clayface, and another with Batman and Robin fighting the Joker on New Year's Eve. This is definitely not a serious episode, but more of a light-hearted and funny one.
Don't waste your ammo on him! Shoot the Santa!
You wouldn't.
Not you, dope. That's Santa.
Number 20. Chemistry. Bruce Wayne falls in love with a woman that he recently met, so much to where he considers retiring as Batman, but sadly turns out to be a plant clone that Poison Ivy made in a scheme to get fortunes from many wealthy people. This episode is an interesting one because we see Batman happy, but we sort of want him to at the same time.
It's a lightness, a sense that things will work out for the best.
It's called happiness.
Whatever it is, I like it.
Number 19. The Daemons Quest Part 1 and Part 2. We saw Ra's al Ghul in an earlier episode, but we finally got proper treatment. He seeks Batman's help when Robin and his daughter Talia are taken, and they venture off to different countries to find them. It was a nice change in pace going to what we're used to seeing in a Gotham City setting to a globe-trotting adventure. It turned out that was a test for Batman to be a successor, and it ends with them dueling with swords. Number 18. Catwalk. After being forced on parole, Selina Kyle reminisces on when she used to be Catwoman. She is then recruited by Scarface, and I love her reaction.
Oh, come on, you know. What's the gag?
She accepts, but turns out to be a double cross. This episode not only has some of the best animation in the show, but showing that it's really hard for someone like Catwoman to change her habits. It is like a cheetah trying to change its spots.
Please, let me save him.
Nah.
Number 17. Make 'em laugh. Batman deals with a bunch of nutjobs with odd gimmicks, but it turns out they're comedians who are judges on an annual comedy competition. It turns out that the Joker was using Mad Hatter's mind control to win the contest, and it's a funny episode.
That hurts! Don't worry, I'm back to normal!
Who can tell?
Number 16. Dreams in Darkness. This episode begins with Batman in a cell in Arkham Asylum in a straitjacket, but it turns out that Batman is also infected with Scarecrow's fear gas and has to stop him before he can attack Gotham City. This episode shows Batman being hunted by authority, as well as this trippy scene when Batman is being attacked by his rogues gallery. Number 15. Nothing to fear. The Scarecrow wants revenge on the university that fired him, and Batman gets infected by the Scarecrow's toxin. But he overcomes it with this awesome speech.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
It is well animated and has a rare moment of glass shattering, something that was a big no-no in the board of censors. Number 14. I am the Knight. Batman doubts how effective he is at crime fighting. The final straw comes when Commissioner Gordon gets shot while Batman is visiting where his parents were murdered. He feels so guilty to the point of quitting crime fighting. This episode is deep with its dialogue.
He also said a fanatic is someone who redoubles his efforts while losing sight of his goal. When you look too long into the abyss looks back through you.
And has a good message.
But the most important lesson was to never give up.
Number 13. TwoFace Part 1 and Part 2. Bruce Wayne's friend Harvey Dent is running for re-election, but his alter ego known as Big Bad Harv is hurting his image. When a mobster named Rupert Thorne tries to blackmail him, a fight breaks out, and during this, an explosion hits Harvey and scars him going full swing as Two-Face. What makes these episodes interesting is that Harvey was an established character that we saw in a few episodes before, so it left more of an emotional impact when he became a bad guy. Number 12. Harley and Ivy. The Joker kicks Harley Quinn out of his gang, and she tries to make it on her own. However, she runs into Poison Ivy, and they team up. What is interesting is that Batman is not in this episode that much, and I like this plot twist.
It doesn't work on me.
In addition, I love Joker's reaction to getting kicked in the nuts. I also like this cameo from some of the creators of the show.
Oh, and what are you gonna do? Spank us?
And here's the paddle.
Whoa!
Number 11. On Leather Wings. A bat-like creature is breaking into buildings, and Batman is blamed for it. He investigates and discovers a new villain known as Man-Bat. This Batman episode is sort of straightforward and basic when it comes to plot, but the most impressive part about it is the animation, as well as its soundtrack. Number 10. Harley Quinn Nade. The Joker has stolen a nuclear bomb, and the police have no idea where it's at. The only person who can find out where the Joker might be is Harley Quinn, and Batman uses her to help him find the Joker. This is a hilarious episode that is fun. I think my favorite moment is when she presses a button and Batman chews her out.
Listen and listen good. You don't touch anything, say anything, or do anything unless I tell you. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Number 9. Old Wounds. Nightwing tells the new Robin why he quit being the first Robin. Around the time of his graduation from college, he starts to disagree with how Batman conducts crime fighting. But the breaking point comes when he finds out that Batman told Batgirl who they are, but did not tell him. This episode also confirmed that they used to be a couple, and this caused some noticeable drama that reflected on him growing apart from Batman.
Oh, forget it! I shouldn't have come here, I'm sorry. Gotta work this out on my own. I'll call you later.
It then accumulates when he sucker punches Batman. As a side note, I like this line by the Joker.
Hey! Do I hit your kids?
Oh, actually I do.
Number 8. House and Garden. A mysterious person is robbing and poisoning wealthy men. Batman assumes that's the work of Poison Ivy, but he finds out that she's been out of Arkham Asylum and is now married and has a family of her own. He also tries to see if she has turned over a new leaf or not. There has been other episodes where the villain has tried to reform, but this is the best one. One is for its mystery. I'm not gonna spoil much, but seeing the plant babies was freaky. It also showed that a villain like Poison Ivy did want to have a family of her own, and moments like this is why I love this show. It gave more depth to the villains to make them more relatable and three-dimensional. Number 7. Feet of Clay, Part 1 and Part 2. An actor known as Matt Hagen is trying to frame Bruce Wayne. The reason why is that Roland Daggett gives him a gel that heals a scarred face. He tries to take some, but the stuff gets put down his throat when he gets caught. He then becomes Clayface while at the same time wanting revenge against Daggett.
Why don't you tell
them about me?
This is a very tragic episode to where you feel sorry for Clayface before he becomes a monster. Besides the amazing animation, the score by Shirley Walker really sells it.
I can't keep it up for long.
My career, life, it is gone, and I can never get it back. I'm not an actor anymore. I'm not even a man.
Number 6. Mad Love. Harley Quinn wants Batman out of the way because she wants to spend time with the Joker. So she fakes going straight and captures Batman. During this episode, we see her origin story for how she fell in love with the Joker and his phony sob stories.
You know, my father used to beat me up pretty badly.
This episode not only gave history to a popular character, but it was balls to the wall with showing domestic violence. It goes to show that the Joker uses her as a means to an end, and his ego is far more important.
I had no way out other than convincing her to call you. I knew your massive ego would never allow anyone else the honor of killing me.
But aside from all the serious stuff, I really like his Star Wars pun.
May the floss be with you!
Number 5. Over the Edge. In this shocking episode, Batman and his family are hunted by the police. This is because when the Scarecrow kills Batgirl, Commissioner Gordon finds out who she really is and hates Batman for not telling him. Commissioner Gordon goes as far with having Bane released from jail to capture Batman. This is an episode that is not short on shock value, especially with Batgirl landing on a car. I also like this reference to the O.J. Simpson trial.
If the Bat's on a spree, Wayne must pay the fee.
Number 4. Heart of Ice. A villain knows Mr. Freeze is stealing technology and Batman investigates. He later finds out that Mr. Freeze was a doctor trying to find a cure for his wife. But then his boss Mr. Boyle was irate about thinking that Victor was misusing his money and tried to shut him down. There was an altercation and Mr. Boyle kicks Victor into chemicals. This permanently changed him to being restrained into a sub-zero environment. This not only changed the character's origin story for the better, but Mr. Freeze is the one Batman villain I feel the most sympathy for. This episode won an Emmy for its writing and has such deep dialogue.
To never again walk on a summer's day with a hot wind in your face and a warm hand to hold. Oh yes, I'd kill for that.
Number 3. Trial. Batman is captured by his villains who have taken over Arkham Asylum. They put him on trial, and it's up to a critic at Batman to defend him in court. This episode is a ton of fun with an ensemble cast of so many iconic Batman villains from the show. This was originally going to be the basis of the animated Batman movie back in the 90s, but was later changed to Mask of the Phantasm. I also love how the villains work off each other.
Hang him!
Shoot him!
Hit him with a rock!
Hold on, you'll hit Croc. What's your point?
As well as remind us of their past.
He should have let me bump off Harvey Dent. We'd all have been better off, wouldn't we, Harv?
Number 2. Perchance to Dream. Bruce Wayne wakes up to find out that his parents are alive, and he is engaged to Selina Kyle, and someone else is Batman. Bruce wants this to be real, but figures out that some things are not alright. It then accumulates with him fighting his alter ego. Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, loved this episode because he got to work off himself in voice acting, and this episode reminds me of Inception.
This is a dream, and you're the one responsible. A dream? Why do you think that?
Number 1. Almost Got Him. Batman's villains gather for a night at cards while they tell each other stories on how they almost defeated the Dark Knight himself. This episode has excellent writing and his characters' personalities working off each other.
Now prepare to meet your end within my aviary of doom.
Aviary of what?
Yeesh, Pengers. How corny can you get?
And I also like each of their stories are very different, but Batman is not the perspective in which this episode is told. Not only does it give us a ton of villains, but the animation, atmosphere, and voice acting all around is top notch. Things like this is what made the show amazing, and for that, it is the reason why it's my favorite episode. So anyway, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe.
Batman?
You're hot.
Now you notice.